siege in the barracks. We'll be safe there.
There are so many of them.
Not for long.
Is it over?
No. It's only just begun. That looks to be the last of them. I wonder how the others fared. Better hurry back to town. Come on, Torgal.
Clive, it's good to see you.
And you. The road to Oriflamme is clear. How did you and your men fare?
Well, we ended up fighting for our lives down by the lake. Took a few nicks, but nothing the girls of the Vale can't put right.
Glad to hear it.
Well, it seems we've survived. For the time being, at least. I thank you both for answering the call.
You were right. And I was wrong. About everything. I had thought that the only way to unite the people was under the banner of Empire. that without a strong hand to guide them, they would drift apart, to be borne hither and yon by the eddying currents of fate. But you brought them together. Not by force, nor by the exercise of goddess-given authority, but by simply being one of them. By knowing what they feel, because you feel it yourself.
Our purpose was ever the same, Your Eminence. You were merely distracted by a loftier vision of empire and glory, while our eyes beheld matters closer to home.
You have the right of it again. As did you, Sabine. His radiance said it himself. Sanbreque is naught without her citizens. I forgot that, and I am sorry.
I'm sorry too, Father. I should never have taken things so far. I only wanted you to understand how the people felt. How I felt. But my anger got the better of me.
Do not blame yourself, my dear. This was my doing. I should have listened to you. To all of you.
Your Eminence, your ladyship, I do not doubt that you came here with the best of intentions. But I believe the same could be said of us all. We all want safety, security, prosperity. Not just for Northreach, but for the entire realm. And we may yet achieve it. If only we work together. Will you join us in this?
Yes. We shall.
Thank you, Your Eminence. Now that that is settled, I must go and see to the wounded. The Vale's doors are always open to any soldier in need of relief. And today there are more than ever before.
Madame Isabel is a rare soul indeed. In these dark times, I see that it is not men like me who should lead the realm, but women like her.
You're right. If only I'd listened to her when I had the chance.
Forgive me for saying so, milady, but you still do. The dame said it herself. We can turn things around. We just have to work together. And that goes for you, too. You're one of us now.
One of you.
Well said, Captain. Let this be a new beginning. Not only for Sanbreque, but for us.
Well, since there's nothing more to be done here, I should see if Isabel needs any help moving the wounded.
Can we get you anything?
There's no need to worry any longer.
I saw several soldiers being carried to the Vale.
How goes the treatment of the wounded? I'd be happy to man one end of a stretcher if it would help.
You've helped quite enough for one day, Clive. Thank you.
Don't mention it.
Oh, but I must. After all you've done for this town, it is the very least you deserve.
Tell me, if Northreach had fallen, what would you have done? A woman of your means could find a home anywhere in the realm, but I sense you would rather have died here.
It's a long story.
For you, madame, I have all the time in the world.
Very well. Long ago, I had a life in the crystalline dominion. I was Carla then, courtesan to the nobility. So sought after was I that it was only they who could afford my time. Alas, those halcyon days were not to last. For naive as I was, I fell in love with a bearer. He was my master's guard, the gentlest man I have ever known. After they discovered us together, he was whipped bloody and forbidden from ever looking at me again. And so we fled. Not that we had anywhere to flee to. We wandered, aimless and starving, half dreading, half praying that the next day would be our last. Until we found ourselves here, in Northreach. It was the veil that took us in, that fed us, clothed us, and healed our hurts. Those that could be healed, at least. My love was already too far gone.
He passed away.
He did. Not long after we arrived. But at least we were able to share a few moments of peace before the end. It was the greatest gift I have ever received. But the generosity of this town and her people did not end there. The men and women of the Vale supported me through my grief. Shared in it, though I was still a stranger to them. They treated me like a sister. And so I swore that I would always do the same. That I would return the kindness that Northreach showed me. That I would repay my debt to the Vale.
Thank you, Isabel, for sharing this with me.
You're a lot like him, you know. Perhaps that is why I have such a soft spot for you. Never stop fighting, Clive, and I shan't either. I know that it will not be easy to keep Northreach together. But our efforts will be rewarded. The people, the soldiers, even the Duke of Oriflamme and his daughter. All united in defense of this town. And what of you? Can we count on your support too?
Always. Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you, to settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil, and to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing. Nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did... I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin, and though I doubt it's what you were expecting.
A star, Ruby? It's worth at least twice what you owe me.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts and...
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always. Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. Gob will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us. Come on. Seems this place has been flooded twice over. Purple flowers blooming next to a waterfall. Shouldn't be too hard to find. they are. Might as well pick enough for a bunch, I suppose. Good. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. But she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told...
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so... Here you are. All done?
Lady Karen, Goad tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the hideaway's coffers, but those were donations. And you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself, and might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died, back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship. Which is where I met him. He bought passage to... oh, forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we'd sit up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. on account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have?
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather goat were at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
What do you want?